The purpose of this recording is for me to validate somewhat the existence of this channel. I'm not going to define what a schizoid is, as there are many YouTube channels and web pages dedicating to analyzing and explaining a variety of personality disorders. Explaining that on this channel would be redundant, and anyone probably looking for this channel is probably pretty aware already of what a schizoid is, as they probably stumble across other channels with a much higher viewer count and such that has explained it. What I'm doing here is giving myself, a person like myself, a platform in which I can speak on my experiences, how I see the world, how being schizoid might affect it, how other people may relate to such a thing, how other avoidant disorders or socially aversive disorders may be similar, how they may coincide. I want to share my experiences, my thoughts, just in case others find solace in hearing the voice of a person who may share a similar conundrum. I do not see schizoid as some form of total of identity. I see it as something that shapes and kind of refits the way you perceive social interactions and many aspects of reality. Based on the comments I've seen thus far, I know for the first time ever that there's quite a few of us. We just like to not say much, which kind of falls in line with the whole thing, right? Funny enough, it's not because we don't necessarily like to discuss or speak. Just we don't feel there's any point in voicing our thoughts or opinions, as they usually lead to awkwardness, strange responses, quiet rooms, things like that. I think growing up as well, we also confuse the separation between who we are and what we are expected to be. So we live our lives based on a specific framework that never matched up with our own experiences, our own thoughts. They don't fall in line with the vast majority of people around us. It doesn't make sense to us, just as we do not make sense to them. I cannot speak for other socially averted personality disorders or other forms of psychological quote-unquote illnesses. But I can speak for the loneliness, the solitude, whether completely wanted or not, and in which form, we all feel when dealing with this particular type of situation. When one does not feel they fit in any shape or form into the world around them, they feel alien, confused, perplexed by everything, puzzled by things that seem normal to everyone around them. But there is nothing to be puzzled about. We merely have to give up on trying to rearrange or understand that which is around us in the terms that have been set before us. We must create our new terms. We must create our new perspective. Something constructed by only those who could construct it. Those who do not live this way, those who do not think this way, cannot construct a framework for us that functions. Only we may do so. And I feel it is our job, in order to coexist, to create a framework that both retrofits with our version of existence, as well as being reciprocally altruistic with the frameworks that we suffer not understanding. Such a philosophy, I do not think, only applies to schizoid. I think it applies to anyone who views society, the people around them, any form of interactions thought to be normal, as either terrifying, frustrating, and generally angst-filling in one way or another. We don't necessarily have to change who we are. We just need to change the way we perceive how we fit in this world. Or perhaps finally accept that we do not fit and create a jigsaw puzzle of our own, with no need for the puzzle that was already there, moving past it, moving beyond it, but still understanding that coexistence must be secured. For on a pragmatic level, we're outnumbered. There's far more people that are neurotypical than suffering with some form of reality bending, perception warping type of condition, if you want to call it that. Thus, we would have to concede far more of ourselves in order to coexist than they would ever have to. Even with that, we must not live in shadow. We must not live masked our entire lives. It accomplishes nothing, and it's detrimental to both ourselves and the people around us. Living a lie changes nothing, nor accomplishes anything. So, that's the end of my little speech, if you want to call it that. So time for a more casual form of communication again. I think what I want to do is also personally create a place where I can communicate my thoughts and ideas, and you can do the same. I want to hear them. I want to hear what you think. Whether you have some kind of PD or not, or whatever. I just want to know what you think about things happening right now, things happening in your life. How, especially if your way of seeing things differs so greatly from people around you, why that is, how that makes you feel, how that makes you interact, what solutions you've come up with, what suffering you've endured. It's interesting to me to read some of these things, and I'm sure it's interesting to others. I don't think I would get the handful of subscribers I have already if there wasn't at least some people in the world that find something interesting about it. One thing I want to make clear is that internal thoughts are our own. Whatever dreams, whatever methods we've implemented within our mind to cope with an existence that is often difficult, I am not the person to judge such things. I judge action. I judge action. I do not judge thought. I do not judge word. Regardless of having, a family myself, a wife and 2 kids that I care about deeply. In my younger years, and as well as sometimes today, I often dream of a world of scorched earth, cities gone, humanity erased. Those are just personal dreams, because there's so much pain and suffering that constantly exists for what seems to me pointless reasons. A world driven by power vacuums, fear, greed, and a variety of all sorts of wonderful machinations that is known as the human condition. So if you ever feel that way, I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to say, oh, you need to be completely optimistic. You can't be cynical. You can't smile at the thought of a world on fire. I understand why you would feel that way. It's almost an accelerationist perspective stemming from your loneliness, solitude, and inability to understand a world that continues to set itself on fire. It continues to occasionally put itself out, only to reignite once more. You are not alone in these thoughts. I also use humor, the darkest of humor, to cope with such things. Thoughts of death and violence turned absurd, turned ridiculous. Laughing at the current condition of things, and the current condition of the human experience, laughing at the absurdity, laughing at the seemingly objectively meaningless universe that we inhabit. What I want to talk about is through my experience, how I've decided, fuck it, we need to keep going. Fuck it, we need to keep trying. Fuck it. Regardless of the barriers, regardless of the bullshit that a personality disorder creates within us, in order to be happy, or whatever you want to call it, in order to function in the framework already established in the society, we need to be honest with ourselves. But we need to keep fucking pushing. We need to keep fucking trying. Because of our, or what a lot of people might perceive as a warped understanding of their surroundings due to a PD, it's assumed that we could not contribute to this, what is known as humanity, that we cannot contribute from our standpoint something different, maybe something better, at least in some regards, in order to improve this terrible lot. Perhaps I am a fool, an idiot, for thinking that there would be any virtue, even ephemeral, in pushing through the mud and the blood and the bones and the misery and the torment, and ignoring it, fighting it, defeating it, in order to reach some semblance of purpose and meaning. Even if manufactured from nothing, from the ether that is our hallucinatory experience. I want people to accept what we are, which is a difficult thing and unlikely in any respect. But I want us to be alone, or to be left alone, due to choice, not circumstance. I want people like Schizoids to be honest with the people around them and ourselves about who and what we are. And if you lose people doing so, then it must be. It's scary. What else can be done? You cannot continue living in a mask. You do not want to lay on your deathbed with everyone around you thinking you were this person you never were. Born into a lie, only to die inside of it. I'm discovering that there are ways to get angry and do something about it. To get sad and explain it to someone, if that is your desire. To find friendship in a way that suits you, just as others find friendship in a way that suits them. We just tend to have a slightly more difficult time. For some of us, maybe to even find love in a custom way that doesn't make sense to anyone else, but that also doesn't infringe upon the individual liberties and pursuit of self-actualization of others around you, just as they should not do the same for us. I want to have fun with people like me in a way that makes sense to us. I mean, I know it doesn't quite make sense. Probably I don't know if this makes any sense to anyone, but I'm a schizoid that wants to be around other schizoids, but on our terms, as individuals, separated, without uncomfortable intimacies or signs of friendship or claims of loyalty. Same with the avoidance out there. I respect you guys too. It's a different kind of situation, I know. But the solitude is similar. It's for different reasons. And the way we express... The way we express it is completely different as well. But it's the same thing. We're afraid or angry or something or indifferent to the world around us because it doesn't make sense. And we are forced to interact with it in a way that doesn't make sense or hurts us in some way. We don't have to. There are ways to do it. And it becomes less masking when you're more self-aware of why you're doing it. And you place importance in the actions you're taking, the sacrifices you're making, concessions you're making in order to achieve your goals. It becomes less masking. Because masking implies that you're doing it to be accepted. But when you stop doing it to be accepted and to be left alone, and you start doing it to accomplish your goals, to move forward with your ambitions, to even have ambitions. Because for many, that's the problem. When you live in a framework that doesn't make sense to you and doesn't apply to you, how can you be ambitious? It seems like a folly. But I think that if you somehow alter the way you see the world outside of the confines of other people's pre-established perceptions, well, at least neurotypical perceptions, you can do something. And I'm not saying, oh, schizoids and avoidance and socially adverse people of the world unite. It's rise up. That's ridiculous. I'm not Magneto. We are not the mutants. I'm just a poor idiot in the middle of my life that wants to communicate with others that are just as stupid as me. So, listen to me talk about stuff. And then you talk about stuff too. Put something in your comments. Well, my comments, I guess. Tell me what you think about whatever I was talking about. Even this right now. Call me a fool. Call me anything. I don't care. I'm indifferent to all that criticism and praise and such, but I want to hear something. Because it also makes me feel something. I think to do this, to interact in this way, on my own terms. Just as you should find a way to do it yourself. And perhaps by listening to one person struggle, in doing so, like myself, it can help you. I don't know. But I know that listening to your struggles kind of helps me. I don't fully comprehend why that is the case, but it does. Perhaps I will never truly understand that. So, I don't know. I guess I just want to start something. And if others want to get started too, that'd be great. So that we can create a sort of brand of talk, entertainment, communication that is relatable to us. Relatable to those who live in solitude. And helpful to those who have loved ones that live this way as well. Because why the fuck not? Why can't we have our usually quiet voices heard? Our usually reserved voices. So fuck it. Let's have fun our own way. Let's laugh about stuff our own way. Let's find solace in stuff our own way. Let's communicate in our own way. So yeah, anyway, comment, subscribe, like, hate, whatever the fuck you want. Just do something. Help this stupid little channel of mine grow. Later.